Welcome to East Coast DNA. I'm your host, Darcy Walsh. Today's guests, we have the lead from Broken Love, Justin Benlolo. Welcome, Justin.
Man, thanks for having me.
One little thing, I never do this, but one little thing I want to do off the beginning. We had an old short on our YouTube channel from when my brother and I had interviewed Halifax artist Aquaculture. And he kind of flipped the script around at the end of the interview and asked us a couple questions. So I'm
Okay.
just going to play one little clip from it that we had in our short because it tied into your bio when I was reading through that. You had mentioned a few different bands as influences in different interviews that I combed through, but right on your main bio from your webpage, you stated Soundgarden and Led Zeppelin as influences.
Oh, hell yeah, for sure.
So here,
Top three favorite bands for the both of you.
Zeppelin and Soundgarden are definitely in my top three. And then the third one would change from month. So there you go. We're like-minded folks.
I love that.
I didn't want to just quote it when I could actually play it back. So I thought that was a interesting little parallel between the two of us as far as our interests.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely love those bands, that's for sure. I got posters. I can't show you because I don't have a laptop, but I have
Sure.
posters in my room of those bands.
Awesome. And you've been playing for quite a while. Like you're still quite young. What are you, 24, 25?
25. I consider myself still pretty young. I'm feeling like, I'm turning 26 in like 2 weeks. So, I'm getting a little closer to 30 than I was to 20. So I'm starting to feel it a little bit. But
Sure.
saying that.
So you picked up guitar originally like at 11 years old?
Yeah, sometime around then, like 11, 10, 12. I don't really remember exactly, but definitely in that time frame.
And so you are Toronto based now yourself, and you are like born and raised in Toronto,
Exactly.
but some of your early music career was more American based. So a while you had your uncle had you on stage at age 12 down
Yep.
in Florida.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what was that, a band or was he a solo artist at the time?
He was a solo artist at the time. He had bands in like the 90s, in like the Toronto scene, just like, your typical kind of like local rock band kind of thing. And then he became his own kind of solo artist later in life.
And is that where you were inheriting a love for some of the bands like Kiss and, well,
Oh,
Soundgarden, Led
yeah.
Zeppelin?
Without a question, 100%. I wouldn't have discovered like any, you know, rock music at all if it wasn't for my uncle. So he kind of showed me all this because his like big band was Kiss. That was his favorite
Mhm.
band. Um, so that naturally rubbed off on me because his apartment was like full of Kiss memorabilia, like everything from the comic books to the action figures he had every VHS tape, and he had lunch boxes. He had, like, you name it, he had it.
Yeah, I had
So,
an uncle similar passion, actually had me store his Kiss pinball machine in my
oh, yeah,
bedroom all through high school. So
that's right.
yeah.
We never got the Kiss pinball machine, but we do actually have. I got the Metallica machine, and I got
Oh,
ACD.
cool. Awesome.
Those are like the two like band ones we have. We have like two more like Transformers and stuff. It's like not rock and roll stuff, but I really wish we could have gotten a Kiss one. I was actually in London a couple weeks ago playing. We went to a barcade and they had two Kiss machines. They had like a new one, and they had one from like the 80s or the 70s. I don't know how old it was because it was like when you're just looking at it, it was practically ancient. Like there
It'd
was
be
no,
77 because that was the one that I had in my room.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
like no bells and whistles, just a couple of like the bumpers, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty
No,
cool
this
stuff.
awesome. So with an early passion for music, you were able to get right into it. Like I think I read like age 16ish, you were down in New York doing stuff already, and then like right into it with writing an album.
Pretty much. I mean, there's a few things that kind of led up to it. I mean, there was a lot of soul searching and just, figuring out what exactly I wanted to do. And I guess technically, yeah, like I I didn't know it at the time, but I'd started sort of writing my first album,
Mhm.
which took a long time. Obviously, you have your whole life to write your first album, and then everything after that just keeps on coming. You gotta just keep moving. So, yeah, I guess I did start writing for my first album like around that time in New York City.
And I did read a little bit about the history of the formation of the band, and I realized it's not typical of some of the standard fare that we have on this podcast. You already had stuff formed and kind of a concept for an album and songs written, and then you had a manager, was it, at the time, that helped you put together a band to fill out the whole piece?
Yeah, correct, exactly.
So
Yeah,
what's the New York tie there?
so my manager lives in New York,
Okay.
and at the time when I made my first record, I was actually on a different record label called Razor and Tie, and they don't exist anymore. They got bought out by Concord. So there was a merger that happened, but I was signed to that label, and my manager now was my A&R. For the people who know like music terms, she was basically my representative at the label. And I made the record under that album. Sorry, I made the record under that label. They were already based in New York City, and whatever, the merger happened, and like basically 90% of the roster got let go, and we just decided, well, we had the album, the album was done. They thankfully, like, we actually got it back, and we just decided to keep the operation in New York. I mean, no shade on Canada or anything like that, but I was always told that, like, if you kind of want to be big internationally, if you want more worldwide success or something, you'd want to make it in America first.
Yeah.
And my head kind of got, filled with all those ideas, and we just sort of like kept rolling with it. So, and that being said, I've been in and out of New York with, excuse me, a few different people that I'd worked with since I was like 13, 14. So New York was always kind of like a second home for me. I lived there for a little bit when I was like 12. And then obviously I went back when I was like 16, and it just always felt like a second home. So it made sense to kind of do it all there. And of course, again, with my manager being there, with all of her connections and everything, it just made it a lot easier to just do it down there. And that's kind of, I mean, now, because like the years have passed, we can kind of do whatever we want now, because I'm thankful, and we're lucky to have enough of like of a base right now. It's not anything substantial, but having a little bit more of a foundation, or a stronger foundation, we have a little bit more freedom in that sense, but this is just how we built it, and we're just kind of rolling with it. It's actually funny, as we speak, my band is driving up here from New York right now.
Is there I mean, I could probably think of a million reasons myself because I'm also a Canadian, but is there something specific that's keeping you Toronto based where the band is New York based?
I just like Toronto. Like,
Yeah.
I prefer Canada over the States for a plethora of reasons that we don't need to go into.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And my family's here. I'm really family oriented, and I love being around my family. And like, I just couldn't. I lived abroad. Like, I lived in LA. I lived in New York. I spent a lot of time in Nashville. Like, and it's cool. Like, there's a lot of stuff to be done there. But I kind of did it with the hopes of returning once I kind of got my roots. In the music thing. So, I just stay here because, yeah, first and foremost, I love my family and I want to be close to them. And also because, I mean, at this point too, like with the touring and all that kind of stuff, it's like I could pretty much live anywhere and I'm never going to be there. If that
Yeah,
makes
yeah.
sense. It's like we're always moving around. We're always doing so much stuff that it doesn't really matter. And I'd rather just be here where I already have a foundation and I have a good sense of community and my friends and my family and all that, where like, if I'm at least going to be home for a little bit, I'd rather be, familiar with the place and comfortable. So
Absolutely. And is this performance at the Sommo Festival in Cavendish, PEI, this coming weekend, is this your first time touring on the East Coast of Canada?
Technically, no, not really. We played Truro last summer.
Okay.
That's in Nova Scotia as well.
Yeah, actually, it's closer to me than Halifax. It's about
Oh, wow.
it's like a half-hour drive from here.
Yeah, that was our first time out there. We played Rock the Hub. I think that's what
Oh,
the
okay. Yes. Yeah,
uh,
I was at an alternate festival that weekend.
oh, nice. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I mean, we didn't get to see like I didn't really get to see East because we also didn't drive for that one. It was a fly date, so I didn't get to like really see the East Coast too much. We never really go out there. This is like our second time. Um, and this time we're driving. So hopefully I'll get a little bit more of a sense of, direction or whatever.
For East Coast bands, it's kind of a logistical nightmare to break out of our region because there's such long pieces that you have to travel where you might not have any dates in between.
Mhm.
So I find Ontario, and this is just completely biased view from somebody that spends 99% of his time in the East Coast.
Sure.
Ontario area and West all seem to really support each other. And then we have rising stars from the East Coast that will pop up and then you start seeing them. But it is nice to see more bands coming down this way, getting to see our region, see some of the other bands that are down here, and then see the collaborations that happen, people touring with each other. And it's a great synergy. It's wonderful to see everything reopen and we're able to do that again.
Totally. I mean, you kind of nailed it. It's like it's tough for bands to go out there because there's like no markets really on the way. So it's like for us, maybe the most east we ever go is like Quebec City,
Yeah.
you know, and
Yeah.
then there's really not much for us to do unless we go all the way to Halifax or, maybe there's a few other small places we can go, but there's just less places to play, I guess,
Hmm.
But we're driving out because we're starting a tour in Delaware on like Monday or Tuesday or
With
something.
Steel Panther.
Yeah, with Steel Panther. So that's like
Awesome.
right there. So we're gonna go play the set. We're not even gonna hang out that much after. Like we're gonna play, maybe stick around for like 2 or 3 hours, and then we're just gonna drive down to New York. I think the first show's on Monday. I actually don't know. I have to check the schedule, but it makes sense for us routing wise to just go all the way down from that. We're already basically out there.
A good opportunity for you to see the region a little bit, especially with the weather we've been having lately. There's been
Yeah.
overcast days, but it's summer. Summer's the best time to be down here anyway, so it's good
Well,
opportunity.
I've heard it's gorgeous. Like I had a lot of friends who went to Dalhousie, uh,
Yes.
and they always did like, dude, it's can I swear on
Oh
this?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
They're like, it's fucking gorgeous out here. And all of them and they're all like golfers and shit too. So they all have like golf out there and whatever. So my friends have raved about it for years, and I'm actually excited because we're getting there a day early. Like we decided to push a little bit just so we can actually see the festival on Friday since we're not really going to see it on Saturday.
Yes.
So we're going to be there like Friday the whole day, pretty much. I mean, we're gonna get there. We're planning on trying to get there tomorrow night. I mean, we're just gonna push as far as we can. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it for sure.
Well, you might run into me on the road. I'm still trying to figure out there's a ferry service about 10-15 minutes from here that will take us over to the island. But
Oh yeah,
if it's not running, we have to drive around through New Brunswick. So
right. You don't have to take a ferry, right?
yeah,
Just
the
information.
bridges. Yeah, the bridge goes from New Brunswick over to PEI, so you don't
Okay,
have
because
to
I'm
enter
like,
the reservation.
we didn't look into that. I'm like, you could drive there, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
you can.
perfect.
It one key note is that it's free to go to PEI, so you can get on the island for free.
Mhm.
Leaving the island, you have to pay a toll to get back across the bridge.
It's fine. It is what it
So,
is.
yeah, exactly. Well, at that point, you're on the island. You have to pay to get off if you want to go
True.
anywhere. So,
But there's
er,
nothing worse than like when we tour out west. When we go all the way to Vancouver, we always end up playing like Victoria,
yeah,
and you got to take a ferry out to that, and like not to complain, but like when we take a big vehicle with a trailer and all that stuff, man, that shit is expensive. Like
yeah, I can
every
only
time we have to
imagine.
go play a show over there.
And so you are gearing up for this Steel Panther tour right after this weekend festival.
Yeah.
And you'll be doing that for a while. I did take a peek at your calendar there. So is there new material that'll be coming out following that tour? Because your album's been out just a little over a year now. So that's
Yeah.
your second album.
We're working on it. Like, there's nothing recorded at the moment. That's not entirely true, actually. We have something that we're probably going to put out over the summer, probably like a single. And then when this is done, you know, we're kind of going to open up the conversation of recording and stuff. I have a bunch of new songs written. I have the whole album pretty much written. I just have to record it.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
We're probably looking like tentatively. I don't have any like dates, but like my guess is like we probably might have a single or two out in like the fall, closer to winter, and then probably have the new record out sometime early next year, is my guess. I have to record the thing.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
But the songs are done pretty much. I'm like 99% there. So
So lots of stuff to look forward to. I imagine Spotify is a good place for people to be following you. I noticed that outside of the albums, you tend to release a lot of singles with extra tracks and EPs as well.
yeah.
So definitely recommend people are following you there. But where else would you recommend anyone follow the band over the next few months while they see the tour dates and potential new material?
I mean, if you just follow us on like all the you know, Instagram and Facebook and all that crap, you know, the standard stuff. I mean, we're pretty active on Instagram, you know, that seems to be a really good place for bands.
Music seems to be living there lately,
You
the
know,
last couple of years for sure.
like we have Twitter and all that stuff, but like I'm not active on TikTok at all because it just makes me want to vomit.
Yeah.
But yeah, Instagram, all that kind of stuff. I mean, when we announce stuff, it'll be there like right away. As far as new music, I mean, we'll probably tease that in a bit. Like I said, like there is stuff coming. I just gotta actually do it.
So in the meantime, then, when we do these interviews, we typically play off with a song.
Mhm.
So is there a particular song from the Broken Love catalog that you would like to play off this episode with?
Maybe you could play Like a Drug. That's off our last record.
Awesome. We'll definitely fade off to that here now. And I do realize that you've got a busy schedule here to get ready for. So I'm going to let you get back to it. And hopefully I do run into you over the next couple of days because we'll have a similar traveling paths and I'll be bombing around a little bit backstage on the Friday as well.
Sweet. Okay. Well, I look forward to it.
Great. Thank you very much for your time.
All right. Thanks, man.